Hey guys, this is Jeremy with Amble's Adventures. Today we're talking about camp kitchen. I've got a few pieces of gear here that I think makes life a lot easier when you're out camping. So we're going to go over about like the last video. We're going to go over 3 or 4 things that I use that I take with me everywhere we go. So stay tuned, and here we go.
Check out Shop Overland Apparel, your source for Amble's Adventures merchandise and more.
Alright guys, so we've got my this is a GSI Outdoors. This is the Pinnacle Pro. This is my camp stove that I carry everywhere we go. This thing is awesome. It's definitely need to clean it. It's needs a good cleaning. I haven't cleaned it since the last time we got back. But so basically that's what what it is. And this thing is, I'm not gonna go over all the ins and outs of the actual stove. I'm just gonna kind of go over basically you need a good camp stove. These things range from, you can get a stove that's gonna last, that's gonna work for you for 40-50 bucks, up to, if you go into like JetBoil, their cook stove, you're gonna get up to in the 300 or 400 range. This one's about 260, I believe, is what I paid for it. The reason I went with this one, GSI makes good quality stuff. It's got very fine adjustments on this. I like something that's got a igniter on it, and these igniters work pretty well. They work really good, and it was just it's thin. So in our case, when you're dealing with a Jeep and you kind of run out, you don't have a lot of space in the back of the Jeep. So it packs down. For one, it packs down really flat. Total, this thing, once it's all closed up, it's 1 inch thick. So that's why I went with this stove. Plus, it's got another cool feature on the back of it. I'll spin it around here. You can. Here is where the gas hooks up to it, and it actually has a steel braided hose instead of a steel line that's real fixed and that's very cumbersome. It makes it hard to get your propane bottles how you want it if you use one of the little 1 pound green propane bottles. So this is what I use. Again, it's not a review on this stove. I love it. It's been really good for me. My brother uses a JetBoil Genesis, but for, I'd say, a middle of the road, I think this kind of comes in as more of a higher end stove, but it works really well. It's not you don't have to break the bank to get this one. And again, it packs down super flat. It's not cumbersome. The major downside I have to it is it's heavy. It's like 12-13 pounds, I think. I need to go back and look, but it's pretty heavy for it to be all for most of it to be aluminum. It's pretty heavy. And it's got a lot of steel in it too, or stainless, but it's got some aluminum components too. But it's kind of heavy for a stove, but it does the job really well. And the fact that these controls are real fine, you can really dial in your heat when you're cooking. So that's something that's, to me, was pretty important. Like if you go with a JetBoil Genesis, those things are so fine as far as how you can get your temperature. So they're, again, twice the money, but they're definitely worth it. But that's it's kind of, hey, a cook stove, that's one of the things you've got to have. So wanted to go over that with you, show you my stove. So let's go on to a couple other pieces of gear we use. Okay guys, the next thing on the list here is my Coleman stove, or my Coleman oven. This thing is awesome. It takes some getting used to cook with it, and you have to it's a learning curve to get this thing to keep but for the most part, if you learn it, you can do just about any kind of baking you can think of in this. I keep a I want to say an 8x8 pan is what will fit in this. I keep a couple of round ones for biscuits. I've got a muffin pan, six place muffin pan that I carry with me everywhere we go. Excuse me. And this is just a kind of a game changer. Mainly we use it for breakfast, so for cooking our biscuits, muffins, things like that. If you want to do some kind of, if you wanted to cook it, basically any kind of like pasta bakes or anything like that, it'd be good for that. Basically just an all-around good piece of gear to have. Not expensive. This thing's like $45-50, I think. The cool thing about it is it breaks down flat, so it's probably 2 inches thick, so it's something that excuse me, it takes up most of my stove when I'm running it, but I've got a small cast iron skillet I'll use over here, or if I've got a pot where I can boil some water, things like that. So you can still use the stove, and this will actually slide over a little bit, so you still have access to the other burner if you do it. So for instance, if you're like, a lot of times I'll have eggs, different things going over here, my sausage, bacon, or whatever's going over here. I get this thing up to temperature, control my heat, and like I said, it stays. Once you get it up to your temperature, it heats up really quick. As far as I can tell, this is pretty accurate, and you kind of have to, you can't walk off and leave it long term and just go, hey, I'm gonna leave this thing sitting here and it's gonna bake at 400. You got to stay on top of it. It's not something you can put something in there and you know it needs to cook for 30 minutes and walk away. You need to kind of stay, pretty vigilant about keeping the temperature regulated, because you do occasionally have to come in, adjust the temperature, kind of lower it, and kind of, so it's it's a little bit, it's not like your oven at home, but for a camp oven, this is probably my favorite thing I found for trying to cook any kind of bread, any kind of biscuits, anything like that. Or if you're trying to cook some kind of pasta bake, or basically anything you need an oven for, you can use this for. Use it for that. And like I said in my last video, still got my Jetboil here. These two things are my favorite piece of gear I think that I carry, because this is what, I'm a big coffee drinker. This is what I use for my coffee. Now, I've just been using this this French press because it's easy. It just pops out of there. The bottom of this is your filter for the press. I like this because it gives me another container for water if I need it. I can actually put this right on the burner and boil water if I needed to. If, like, for whatever reason, ran out of fuel for my Jetboil, I can use this directly. I want to say it is, I think this is 3 cups, I think is what it is, what this makes. I'd have to go back and double check, but I think that's what it is. But put the coffee in there. Once you got your water in, you just press this down and you're ready to go. Again, like I said in the last video, you can get the adapter for these, but to get the adapter is about what this cost. Now, doing that, you eliminate another piece of gear. I've just gotten real fond of this. I like how it works. It's worked well. I've used it for a couple of years. So, and it's just a Stanley. You can get it pretty much anywhere. You can get them pretty much anywhere. Walmart. I'm sure you can get them at Target. Pretty much anywhere that sells any kind of camping supply is going to have Stanley stuff. But that's that. Real simple, but again, that's a very important piece of gear. But go along with this. If coffee's important to you, if coffee's not important to you, this is completely useless. Other than just having a container to boil water or whatever. So, like I said in my last video, things that are dual purpose are always good, especially when you're camping, because you can use it for multiple things. It would probably be wise for me, space wise, to go ahead and get the adapter for this to turn this into my French press. I may do that at some point, but we'll see. This actually holds a little more than this, so I like that, because I like to have a couple of big cups of coffee in the morning. So But yeah, any kind of French press, anything but glass. It's not wise to carry glass out of any kind. Most of my coffee cups and stuff, they're all some form of stainless steel or plastic. I don't really like drinking out of plastic coffee cups, but stainless steel is usually what most of my cups are. I don't carry anything that's ceramic or anything like that that can break, they could possibly get left out of my camp spot or out on a trail somewhere. So, but anyway, that's my this is very important to me. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is this is obviously not the cast iron skillet I carry to camp because this is huge. But if you've never cooked on cast iron, or for whatever reason you're scared to, or whatever, you're scared of the things you have to do to kind of keep them up, don't be. They're super easy to clean. There's a few things that you need to learn as far as using them, but if you ever get used to them and learn how to use them and use them right, they're probably the greatest tool you can have in the kitchen, at camp, at home, or whatever. There's so many different things you can do with these. 99% of the times what I cook a steak in when I'm at camp, we've got a charcoal grill that's a portable Iceco charcoal grill. Breaks down super flat, and you can cook 3 to 4 steaks on it. As long as, like fillets, if you get some big T-bones, you probably have to do 2. But a good 8-ounce fillet, you can probably get 3 or 4 on that camp grill that we've got. But most of the time, this is the piece of gear I use. I've got a smaller one. I've got a couple of real small ones I can use, like if I want to do 1 fried egg, or I've got a I think this is a 12-inch. I've got a 10-inch that I carry camping, and I think I've got an 8-inch. Usually just carry one of them, one or the other. But a cast iron skillet, if you don't have any of this other stuff, of course you need a stove. Actually, you don't even need a stove. If you can get fire underneath this thing, you can cook just about anything. So if you don't have any kind of cast iron, I would suggest, you don't have to buy the most expensive one. But I would, if you do get some cast iron, there's Lodge stores all over the place. You can get them online or whatever. Get to a Lodge store, buy you something, learn how to use it. I've actually got a griddle that'll fit on top of my stove. I don't carry it with me very often, but I do have it. So I've got a couple of pieces of cast iron that I use. But just for basically anything you can think of, you can cook in a cast iron skillet. And like I said, if you don't have anything else and you've got an open fire, drop this thing down on the coals, and you can cook just like you could if your stovetop at home. So if you don't have cast iron, you've never had one for whatever reason, I would highly recommend getting one, learning how to cook on it, because it can definitely change the game for camping, for the meals that you can prepare and that kind of stuff, and at home. So multi-use. So that's pretty much all the gear I was going to show you tonight. I just kind of wanted to go over that setup. I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to break the stove down, break the oven down, and kind of show you how flat they pack, so you kind of get an idea of kind of how much space they're going to take. Okay guys, so this is a stove. So like I said, this thing's about 1 inch thick. This is about twice that thick, so it's about 2 inches. But again, that stove, it packs down really thin. So if you've got that, your cast iron skillet, have that sitting there, you basically can do just about any kind of cooking you can think of with that. A good pot is something I'd suggest getting to. If you're doing this, if you're out camping doing this a lot, and you have and you've never seen Jetboil Genesis, again, about twice the money as one of these Pinnacle Pros. But if you get that whole setup that comes with the Genesis, it's a 2-burner stove. The thing's super powerful. But if you get the whole setup with it, it gives you a skillet, it gives you a pot with a lid, so you kind of by the time you buy this, buy a good cast iron skillet, you kind of can do the Jetboil Genesis for maybe still a little bit more money, but it definitely gets more comparable in price. The stove, my brother uses I'm not even going to attempt to say it. Omnivia, I think is what it is. Don't quote me on that. I'm a country guy. His stove it's really hard to explain. I'll get that on the channel. I'll try to get that from him maybe in the next video and try to show you kind of how that thing works. He's been learning how to use it. It possibly may be something I change from this and go to just because it's just a little easier to use as far as setup. But that's pretty much right here. That's pretty much my kitchen. So you don't got to have a whole lot of gear. You need a good sturdy place to put all this when you're cooking, so it's not rocking and going all over the place. But with this, the Jetboil Flash, it has to have its own fuel source, which is the can that sits underneath it. That's something you got to have with one of these, and you can run these on the little 1 pound bottles, or you can get an adapter and run it on a 5 or a 20 pound bottle. This stove here, this is what I was talking about, the steel braided hose that comes with it. So this screws into the back, this screws into the bottle, and the hose is long enough you can just figure out where you need to set it and set it. It's not one of those just fixed hard lines. So that's kind of what I use. And I have a whole camp box that I use to keep all my gear in. That Pinnacle Pro has its own case. It's all right. It protects the stove, so I use it. But that's it. That's kind of that right there with what you see right here. I can pretty much cook anything I can cook in this kitchen. So with my cast iron skillet, and you throw a pot in there, yeah, you can cook anything you want to cook on a trail, at camp, whatever you're doing in the outdoors. You can definitely do this. This is definitely not a setup for backpacking like we went over before the Jetboil Flash is, but if you're actually setting up camp every night, even if you're moving in an overlanding style trip where you're moving from place to place, or base camping, this setup will work for that perfectly. So, all right, guys. Well, that's my kitchen setup. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't, please like and subscribe, and comment. Leave some comments down what you thought about the stove, things you'd like to see on the channel, some other pieces of gear that I've got. I'm gonna try to do these at least once a week. Put out a video at least on Monday, kind of the gear I use, and start doing a few reviews here and there. We got a couple of cool trips going up. Me and my brother are heading out on the 6th to go to Overland Expo East in Virginia. Really looking forward to that. So I'm gonna do a video. I'll do a walk around of that event. Hope I can do some drone footage. I don't think they're gonna allow drones, but I hope maybe I can get some drone footage of that, at least of the camp area. We're gonna camp on the site and kind of stay there for a few days, just hang out, meet some like-minded people, look at some new cool gear that's coming out. But that's kind of what we got coming next. We're gonna be camping this coming weekend with a group of guys from my church. We're gonna be doing that once a month with them, kind of going over a few things with them. So that's a few things that are coming up. May try to make it to Rendezvous in the Ozarks. I don't know, that's kind of the Virginia trip, plus that's kind of back to back, just kind of see how it goes. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of let y'all see kind of how I do my cooking, that kind of stuff. And hope you enjoyed the video. And if you want to support us, support what we're doing, and kind of help get us out there more, you can do that by getting some of our merch at shopoverlandapparel.com. We got these shirts are super soft, super comfortable. Everybody that's got them have loved them. And the hoodies that are coming out, I hope ours should be here in the next couple of days. The first ones we've ordered. Weather's starting to cool off at night and that kind of stuff, so it's just about to get to hoodie weather. So I'm really looking forward to that. So stop over there at Shop Overland Apparel and check those out. And again, they pretty much carry anybody you may be watching for any overlanding or off-road channel on YouTube. They probably are carrying their merch. They're a great group of people over there. So if you like I said, if you want to support us or any of the other channels, that's a good place to go to. ShopOverlandApparel.com. Thanks for watching.